You know, one of the most important things in our society is the structure of our families and how well we provide an atmosphere for the raising of our children and the youth of our day. Now, much of what I'm going to share today applies to both fathers and mothers, though I am aware that Father's Day is today, just as I focus on mothers on Mother's Day. Today is your day, dads, and I wish and pray you well. Families raising children are very, very busy places. One father was humorously heard to say, there are 3 ways to get something done. You do it yourself, you hire someone to do it, you tell your kids not to do it, and it'll certainly get done. In a cartoon, one father says to the other, how do you organize our family? How do we organize our family? Well, it goes like this. My spouse tells the kids what to do, my kids tell the cat and the dog what to do, and I can say anything I want to the geraniums. It's worth a chuckle, but of course it's not true of most parents. Busy, caring parents, fathers and mothers, both closely resemble the description put forth in a popular poem that says a parent or a father is a mender of toys, a kisser of bruises, a mover of couches, a soother of ouches, a pounder of nails, a teller of tales, a hanger of screens, the counselor of teens, the fixer of bikes, chaser of tykes, and raker of leaves, and cleaner of eaves, dryer of dishes, and the fulfiller of wishes. And the poem ends with, bless those, O Lord, who love both you and their families. Talk about multitasking. Busy fathers and mothers are experts in the art of that. The world is crammed with options that you can choose to do with your spare time and with internet information on any subject you want to learn about, and with communications coming from all directions through the media, cell phones, TVs, CDs, DVDs, cinemas, and shopping malls, and we may not live in a wilderness, but some of our days are certainly bewildering, with choices and messages so numerous presenting themselves on our left and on our right, claiming to be among the things we should pay undivided attention. Precisely because we are bombarded by such a blitz of information and influences every day, it's all the more important to have a clear focus in our families about what is the most important thing to pay attention to. What are the most important faith beliefs and truths to teach, and values and life lessons to learn and pass on to our children and youth? That is the concern underlined in the reading from Deuteronomy chapter 6 today, in verses 4 and 5. It's a clear, confident statement of faith. It says, the Lord our God, the Lord alone, you shall love the Lord with all your heart, your soul, with all your might. Keep these words, that is, to be obedient to them. And then in the verses that follow, we hear about keeping this faith, this truth, these values, and life lessons in clear focus in families. Keep these words, it says, recite them to your children, and talk about them at home. Not just at church, at home. In real life, in real time. In other words, provide children a faith in which to anchor their young lives and their early thinking. Provide them with a clear point A, I call it, A being a starting place upon which to build something. What children learn of faith and truths and values and life lessons in their homes and churches of their childhood and youth, I call that point A. Point A is where they begin their lives. We all do have starting places. Point A is the place of initial takeoff, if you will, as one begins her solo flight, his or her solo flight in life. It is so important that children and youth have a clear point A during their growing years. Parents have a lot to offer in providing this. Families where children are touched with the kindness of parents who love them, taught the high value of life loved by God, encouraged to think well of themselves as gifted by God with abilities and talents, and assured by God that God has a wonderful purpose for each one to fulfill. When you visit MapQuest on the internet to find directions to a new place and you click on Find Directions, the message on the screen asks you for your starting place, point A, if you will. I recall the anecdote of a tourist asking for directions of a Vermont farmer. I don't know why we blame Vermont farmers, who replied with a smile, "Sorry, you can't get here from here if you don't know where you are." Thanks a lot. It's very confusing to go anywhere else unless you know clearly where you presently are anchored. Just like a boat with an anchor tossed around by a storm of wind going in all directions, without a clear, dependable, consistent anchor of faith, truths, values, and life lessons in your mind and heart, you don't know where you're going. You're strangely adrift. It isn't many years before the horizons of our children and youth are vastly expanded as they move away from their homes, further their education, perhaps explore job opportunities, and face the ocean of options that the world holds out to them. What will they believe about the meaning of life, their own lives, and the lives of others? What faith will come to reside in their hearts and their minds, informing their decisions about important matters, and guiding their actions as to what is morally and ethically correct or right, and spiritually healthy, both for themselves and for those around them? What will be the founding faith upon which they will continue to build their lives on their own? What will be their point A to start from? What morals will they hold in highest regard, and where will these morals come from? What is their source? From what source? From what authority? Life, as we all know, is not a rehearsal. It's the real thing, all the way through. Most parents build in part upon examples they observed or experienced in their own youth, but a great deal of what parents need to know is learned along the way. Writer Gary Williams tells the story of a 9-year-old boy and a man walking on the beach. Man was in a hurry, doing what he considered a duty and a responsibility, and his mind was only on his work. Having a less pressing agenda, the young boy discovered a small stone, began kicking it down the road, keeping it in front of them, but it slowed them down, until his father said, "Come on, come on. I don't want to wait for you to kick that rock all the way." And so the boy kicked it to the side of the road and walked silently after that. Suddenly the father stopped in his tracks as if a light bulb had come on in his mind. Something very important had entered his mind, and he said to his son with the warmth of a father's smile, "How about if I help you, and we'll kick it together?" And now there were 4 feet scuffing the dirt of the road as each tried to show the other how to do it best. Somewhere in the magic of the moment, the man and the boy had become father and son, and of course it would be just as well to happen that a father and daughter relationship occurs. Shakespeare once wrote that wise parents do not forget that they have a child inside. Psychologists call it your inner child. I'm sure you've heard that before. Another writer writes, "A great person is one who does not lose his or her child's heart. I would imagine that means things like not forgetting how to cry and show tenderness when something hurts, or how to say I'm sorry and to seek forgiveness when occasions call for it, or how to read a children's storybook with fascination and imagination, or how to have water fights with water balloons. I like that one. Or to pray to God about the day and to renew one's walk with God, all in the presence of children, letting them know. Any parent who does not forget the child within himself, herself, knows how important things like that can be. Exodus 20, verse 12, reminds us, honor your father and your mother. My parents were not perfect, neither am I. But I surely do honor them, especially today. I will honor my father. For my father's 46 years of work as a mechanical engineer, I honor him. For the times he got up in the middle of the night and sat on my bed when I had a bad dream, I honor him. For his patient holding me in balance on my first two-wheeler, I honor him. For the times he was angry and disciplined me for doing dangerous things and sometimes for just being plain naughty, I honor him. For teaching me to love gardening and the great out of doors, his having grown up on a farm himself, I honor him. For his sense of humor that sometimes landed us on the floor, falling out of our chairs, my sister and myself, I honor him. For taking my sister and me fishing on summer evenings after a long, tiring day's work and then staying up late with the mosquitoes, cleaning the fish we caught while my sister and I went to bed. I honor him. For singing in the church choir for 48 years, I honor him. And above all, for both my dad's and my mother's faith in Jesus Christ, which was the foundation upon which they built life, I honor them both. For they gave me a point A, a place to stand upon and to begin building a life, a takeoff place for my own solo flight. I hope you see where I'm going with this. On this day we call Father's Day, I encourage you to expand your concept to today and to make a list of thanksgiving to honor those in your life, both past and present, both mothers and fathers, teachers and friends, and others in your life who have gifted you with the makings of a foundation upon which you are right now continuing to build your life and faith and promise, both for yourself and for the up and coming generation, the children and youth of our times.